Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. Terry McLaurin's 2025 season has gone from hopeful to heartbreaking faster than anyone in Washington could have imagined. The star wide receiver, the guy who's been the heart and soul of the Commanders' offense for the better part of a decade, is suddenly facing what could be a multi-week absence. And that's not just rumor mill talk anymore. When Adam Schefter drops a report saying McLaurin could miss multiple weeks, you know it's serious. This isn't the type of player who sits out for a hangnail or skips practice because of soreness. We're talking about one of the league's toughest receivers, a player who's built his career on reliability, resilience, and sheer willpower. But this time, the body might be saying no. And that's a reality the Commanders will have to face head-on. It all started innocently enough, a little tightness in the quad after the first 2 weeks of the season. At first, everyone chalked it up to early season rust. McLaurin didn't have his usual burst, didn't quite look himself, but it was week 2. No one was sounding the alarm just yet. Then, in week 3, it happened. That moment no fan ever wants to see. McLaurin pulls up mid-route, grabs his leg, and limps off the field. You could feel the collective gasp through FedEx Field. The kind of silence that hits when fans know something's off. From that moment, the conversation shifted. It wasn't about his slow start anymore. It was about damage control. Now, quad injuries are tricky. They linger, they tighten up without warning, and they can sideline even the most conditioned athletes for weeks. The good news at the time was that no surgery was needed. That was a huge relief. The team doctors felt McLaurin just needed rest and rehab. So Washington played the waiting game. Week to week, they said, which in NFL language usually means we have no idea. Every week that passed, fans refreshed their feeds, hoping for Schefter or Rappaport to tweet out, McLaurin cleared to play. Every week, disappointment followed. It became a pattern: optimism on Wednesday, doubt on Friday, inactives on Sunday. Then came the glimmer of hope. After 4 long weeks of watching from the sideline, McLaurin finally suited up again. It wasn't vintage Terry, but it was enough to remind everyone what this offense looks like when he's on the field. Crisp routes, reliable hands, that quiet leadership that seems to calm everyone else down. He posted solid numbers, made a few clutch catches, and looked like he might be turning the corner. But as fate would have it, late in the game, he came up limping again. The same leg, the same injury. You could almost see the frustration on his face. Not pain, frustration. He knew what that meant. More rehab, more missed time, more questions about when he'd be back. That's where we are now, the multiple weeks territory. It's not the news anyone wanted, especially not for a player like McLaurin who's prided himself on durability. Let's put that into perspective. Before this season, McLaurin had missed only 3 games in his entire career. 4 straight seasons without a single missed contest. That's insane consistency for any NFL player, let alone a wide receiver who constantly takes hits, runs deep routes, and faces some of the most physical coverage in football. He's been the Commanders' rock, their one sure thing in an offense that's often been chaotic. So when that rock starts to crack, it's more than just a stat line missing. It's an identity crisis. For the Commanders, this injury couldn't have come at a worse time. The team has been trying to find its rhythm under the new regime, balancing an evolving offensive scheme with a mix of young talent and veteran presence. McLaurin is that bridge between eras, the veteran leader who's seen the franchise through name changes, coaching changes, and endless quarterback turnovers. Without him, the passing game loses not just production but direction. Quarterbacks trust him to make the right read, the right adjustment. When he's gone, the entire rhythm of the offense feels off. In McLaurin's absence, Deebo Samuel has been the next man up. Samuel, always a versatile weapon, has tried to shoulder the load, though he's been dealing with his own bumps and bruises, that nagging heel injury that kept him out of week 7. He's been gutting it out, but even Deebo can't carry this receiving core alone. With Noah Brown on injured reserve, the Commanders have had to dig deep into the depth chart. Rookie Jalen Lane has flashed potential, quick feet, good instincts, but he's still learning the nuances of the NFL. Luke McCaffrey, in his 2nd year, brings energy and solid route running, while veteran Chris Moore has stepped in to provide a steady veteran presence. It's a patchwork unit, and while they've shown flashes, they're not McLaurin. No one is. The Commanders' coaching staff now faces a difficult balancing act. Do they risk rushing McLaurin back again, hoping to save the season, or do they take the long view and ensure he's 100% before returning? Because if there's one thing we've learned from watching countless NFL seasons, it's that a soft tissue injury rushed is a soft tissue injury re-aggravated. And that's the worst-case scenario, not just missing a few weeks, but losing him for good down the stretch. The temptation will be there, especially if the team is still hovering near playoff contention, but the smart move might be patience. The frustration, though, is real, for McLaurin, for the fans, for everyone in that locker room. This isn't just another injury report. It's a reminder of how fragile even the most dependable players can be. McLaurin has built his brand on reliability. He's not flashy, he's not a diva, he doesn't make headlines for off-field antics. He just shows up, produces, and leads by example. Losing that kind of player is like losing your compass. You can still move forward, but it's a lot harder to know which direction you're going. And let's be honest, this isn't just a blow for the Commanders, it's a blow for the league. McLaurin is one of those guys who embodies what fans love about football: grit, humility, work ethic. The kind of receiver who makes a tough catch over the middle, takes a hit, gets up, and jogs back to the huddle like nothing happened. He's never needed to talk himself up because his play has always done the talking. So when he's sidelined, you feel it beyond Washington. You feel it across the NFL. There's also the personal side of this story. At 30 years old, McLaurin is entering that stage of his career where injuries can start to linger a little longer. He's not the fresh-faced rookie anymore. He's a seasoned veteran who's logged thousands of snaps, taken hundreds of hits, and carried a heavy offensive load year after year. This injury isn't just about missing time. It's about how he responds. Can he bounce back the same way? Can he regain that explosiveness? These are questions no one wants to ask, but everyone's thinking about. Meanwhile, the Commanders' fan base waits. They wait for that next update, that next glimpse of McLaurin jogging onto the field at practice. They wait for the moment he's back in uniform, helmet strapped, ready to go. Because for all the uncertainty swirling around this team, the new ownership, the constant rebuilding, the endless cycle of hope and heartbreak, Terry McLaurin has always been the one constant. He's the player you could count on no matter how chaotic things got. That's why this hurts so much. Until he returns, it's going to be a collective effort. Jalen Lane will get his shot to prove he belongs. Luke McCaffrey will have to step into a bigger role. Debo will continue to do what Debo does: grind through pain and make plays. And the coaching staff will have to get creative, maybe leaning more on the run game or using tight ends to spread the defense. But no matter how you slice it, there's no real replacement for McLaurin. He's not just a receiver, he's a tone setter. So here we are, another week, another questionable tag next to McLaurin's name. Another round of speculation, another wait for the injury report. It's the worst kind of suspense in sports, the kind where you already know the answer but don't want to admit it. Maybe he's out 2 weeks, maybe 4. Maybe he avoids IR, maybe not. But what's certain is this: the Commanders' season just got a whole lot tougher without number 17 on the field. And for a player who's given everything to this franchise, you can only hope the football gods finally give him a break. Because if there's one thing every Washington fan knows, it's that when Terry McLaurin is healthy, anything feels possible. But right now, that hope is sitting on the sideline in street clothes, watching, waiting, and itching to get back to doing what he does best: leading this team, one catch at a time. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL world and reignited a swirl of speculation around the Washington Commanders, the defensive juggernaut Chase Young is reportedly heading back to the nation's capital in a trade that seems almost too sudden to believe. Sources close to the situation have hinted that the deal came together at lightning speed, leaving fans and analysts scrambling to understand the full picture. After a tumultuous period with his previous team, Young's return to Washington marks not only a reunion, but a strategic gamble by a franchise that has been quietly plotting its resurgence in the NFC East. The whispers began circulating late last night, initially dismissed as speculative chatter on social media, but as morning broke, more credible insiders confirmed that the deal was in motion, sparking a frenzy of reactions across fan forums, Twitter threads, and sports talk shows. The timing of the trade has added an extra layer of intrigue. Washington, known for making bold and sometimes unpredictable moves, appears to have seized on an opportunity that may have been months in the making behind closed doors. There's talk that the front office saw an opening, a chance to bring back a player who, despite injuries and moments of controversy, remains one of the most physically imposing and game-changing defensive ends in the league. Young, a former number 2 overall pick, has always carried the weight of sky-high expectations, and Washington seems willing to bet that the familiarity of the system, coaching staff, and city can reignite the fire that once made him a household name in football circles. Sources suggest that negotiations were surprisingly smooth, with both sides eager to make the reunion happen, though financial details and draft compensation remain tightly under wraps, leaving fans speculating on what exactly was exchanged to make this blockbuster move a reality. Rumors about Young's dissatisfaction with his previous team have been circulating for weeks, with insiders hinting at friction behind the scenes and disagreements over scheme fit and contract situations. Some analysts have speculated that his departure was inevitable, while others were convinced Washington was biding its time, waiting for the perfect moment to swoop in. The speed of this trade has raised eyebrows, with experts questioning whether the decision was reactionary or part of a carefully calculated plan. Either way, the chatter in the league's inner circles paints a picture of a team ready to roll the dice on a high-risk, high-reward acquisition. Social media exploded with reactions, ranging from elation among Commanders faithful to cautious optimism from analysts concerned about Young's injury history. The consensus, however, is clear. This is a headline-grabbing move that immediately reshapes Washington's defensive outlook and could signal a new era of aggressiveness from a team eager to reclaim relevance. Chase Young's journey back to Washington is more than just a transactional event. It carries symbolic weight. The player himself has always expressed admiration for the organization, and reports suggest he's excited at the prospect of returning to a place where he made a significant impact early in his career. There's also a narrative about redemption. Young has faced challenges, both on and off the field, that have tempered expectations, and now, in a city that once embraced him as a defensive prodigy, he has the chance to redefine his legacy. Inside sources have hinted at discussions about leadership roles, locker room influence, and mentoring younger players, suggesting that Washington views this as a long-term investment rather than a short-term fix. Fans are already theorizing about how Young will mesh with the current defensive scheme, who will shift to accommodate his presence, and what this means for the team's prospects in a fiercely competitive division. The speculation is palpable, with insiders hinting at strategic alignments and potential domino effects across the league as other franchises respond to this sudden shakeup. The trade also opens up a broader conversation about Washington's front office philosophy and willingness to make decisive moves in pursuit of contention. Observers have long noted that the Commanders have been aggressive in building around core talent, but the return of a player like Young signals an elevated level of urgency. Analysts have speculated that this could be a catalyst for further roster adjustments, potentially triggering a wave of moves designed to capitalize on Young's impact. The rumors swirl about complementary signings, shifts in defensive tactics, and even potential coaching tweaks aimed at maximizing the formidable talent now back in the fold. Every conversation about the team's immediate future now seems tinged with the what-if surrounding Young's health, consistency, and ability to deliver the dominant performances that first made him a household name. The buzz in the NFL community suggests that this is more than just a headline. It's a storyline that could define the upcoming season for both Washington and the league as a whole. Chase Young's presence on the field has always been transformative. When healthy, his combination of speed, power, and agility makes quarterbacks rethink their every move, and offensive coordinators scramble to adjust game plans around his threat. The rumor mill is already lighting up with speculation about how this return could change the balance of power in the NFC East, especially considering rival teams who may have underestimated Washington's defensive capabilities. Social media has become a whirlwind of highlight clips, past game analyses, and predictive threads as fans attempt to project Young's impact in a lineup that has matured since his initial stint. Pundits have been dissecting every angle, from how he pairs with existing pass rushers, to the adjustments required in coverage schemes, to the potential for turning close games into decisive victories. Every whisper, every leaked detail, only fuels the narrative. Washington is back in the conversation, and Chase Young is a central figure in that resurgence. Of course, skepticism remains a part of the story. Young's career has been marked by flashes of brilliance punctuated by periods of inconsistency, and critics are quick to caution that past performance is not always indicative of future results. Still, insiders hint at a renewed focus, a dedication to conditioning, and a hunger to prove doubters wrong, elements that make the rumors surrounding his return feel electric. The narrative is irresistible: a hometown hero, or at least a former hero, returns, tasked with recapturing glory not only for himself, but for a fanbase eager for a statement. Sports media outlets are already framing this as a potential turning point, while longtime followers of the team debate whether this is the spark Washington needs to finally challenge the upper echelon of the league. Speculation abounds about how opponents will react, which offensive lines will struggle under the renewed pressure, and whether this move could trigger a chain reaction of trades and signings across the NFL. As the league prepares for the next chapter, all eyes are on Washington. The Chase Young rumor, now confirmed, now real, is more than a simple transaction. It's a storyline filled with tension, anticipation, and the promise of high-stakes drama. Analysts, fans, and commentators are dissecting every nuance, from locker room dynamics to defensive strategy, all while the internet buzzes with predictions and hot takes. Whether Young's return proves to be a masterstroke or a gamble remains to be seen, but one thing is undeniable: the NFL landscape has shifted overnight. The Commanders have signaled that they are willing to take bold steps, and the presence of a player with the physical tools and narrative weight of Chase Young ensures that the league will be watching closely. The story continues to evolve. The rumors are still thick, and Washington fans are already imagining the impact of a player returning home not just to play, but to dominate, inspire, and reshape expectations. In conclusion, while the details of the trade, including draft picks or financial specifics, may remain partially under wraps, the narrative itself is undeniable. Chase Young's return to Washington is a headline that will dominate discussions for weeks, if not months. It embodies all the drama, unpredictability, and excitement that make the NFL a spectacle unlike any other, and it presents a storyline that blends redemption, strategy, and raw talent into a package that fans can't ignore. As the dust settles and analysts continue to parse the implications, one thing is certain: Washington's defensive identity just got a monumental jolt, and Chase Young is at the center of it. The rumors have become reality, the whispers have become headlines, and the NFL world is once again reminded that in this league, anything can happen, especially when a player as explosive and enigmatic as Chase Young comes back to where it all started. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.